Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. Today, we are reviewing a Masters 4 Mercy player. So this will be the highest VOD that we have reviewed on the channel since Overwatch 1, I think. Pretty sure I've done a Masters back then, I think. I don't know. I guess I'd have to go look. But anyway, I digress. So in terms of Overwatch 2, by far the highest. So they're going to be playing Mercy, and they submitted this to me directly, and they sent me a YouTube video. So we're going to try to do this through the YouTube video just to try to do a different perspective. However, they also sent the replay code. So I've got the replay code loaded up behind the YouTube video. So if we run into trouble with the YouTube video for whatever reason, we can swap over to the replay code because I'm doing this all in one take. So this is in essence, quote unquote, live, even though it's not really live, but it kind of is, you know. So we're going to try it with the YouTube video and see how it goes and go from there with it. So, let's get into the introduction here. Hi, thank you for reviewing. It means a lot. You're welcome. Thank you for submitting. I was having an off day, and during my game, I felt very lost, if that makes sense. When people would die, I think I would freak out and go on autopilot, which resulted in my death, as well as sometimes when I would get dived, my thinking lacked, and I just tried to get away, resulting in bad positioning and dying because of it. I had way more deaths than I usually do. I average 4 deaths per 10, which I do need to work on. Please tell me if you notice this too. But I feel like my gameplay was very slow. I'm not sure how to fix it, but I think my movement and overall gameplay was just slow. I'm not sure how I feel about this game, so please help me out. If you want to include but might be too much, oh no, I'll read it, it's fine. I used to be 3700 in Overwatch 1 on the Switch, and my peak was number 8, and I was known as the best Battle Mercy on Switch, lol. I'm fairly new to PC, started a little over a year ago, and I'm still trying to get used to the PC lobbies compared to Switch and PlayStation. I was Masters 3 this season, but I dropped to Masters 4. I really want to hit GM eventually, so any feedback would help. Well, I'll say this. If you're already like playing at a Masters level on PC in a year, like that's great. Kudos to you for that. That's amazing. So your game sense definitely has to be extremely good for that, to just immediately be at that kind of a level. In terms of kind of having the slow reaction times and the feeling lost thing, what I would probably suggest or maybe throw out there for consideration, what was your state of mind when you played this game? Were you tired? Did you have a long day? Have you already been playing for a while and this was, you know, a few hours in? Maybe did you eat a big meal before playing and you felt kind of sluggish from that? Did you maybe not eat the healthiest that day and maybe felt sluggish from that? Maybe coming down from like a sugar crash or, you know, start your caffeine wearing off, that kind of a thing. You know, like how fresh were you when you were playing the game? Were you in a good mood? Were you in a bad mood? I find I play terribly if I'm already in a bad mood or if something's bothering me, you know, like if something in a relationship's not going the way I want it to and it's eating away at me, or did I have a bad day at work and you know, I work in IT, so like, is there something going on with the computer that I'm working on that's not cooperating and it's bothering me? Or, you know, did an interaction with somebody not go the way I wanted it to? And it's, you know, it's one of those things where I'm replaying it in the back of my head kind of a thing. You know, things like that can kind of get you into your own head and your full focus isn't necessarily on the game? Or is there a lot like around you going on and it's distracting you, TV or people you live with, a screaming child or sibling or, you know, what have you. You know, all these different distractions, be it life, diet, health, tiredness, you know, all that kind of stuff. I find that can sometimes make me kind of play that way. And then taking a quick break, or even just playing a stupid arcade or quick play game mode just to kind of refocus for 10, 20 minutes and then get back to it again can definitely be a big beneficial help, especially if you're playing at a master's level. Because that starts getting into punishing territory when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And this is also why people have Smurf accounts, not necessarily to beat up on the lower ranks, but sometimes you just don't want to be playing in a high rank game because they start getting more intense and more punishing. And when you've had a long day or you're not feeling totally fully into it, sometimes playing a plat level game or something is a little bit more up your alley that night or something like that. So, you know, those are all just things to consider when you want to be playing in a master's lobby. So, all right, let's dig into this YouTube video here and see what we get from it. Now, normally I skip this section, but we're just going to play this out once and just see what we get here. And I've got this playing on my Edge browser because I don't really use Edge all that much. I didn't want to leak anything. Ooh, he was GM.
Don't worry, I'll be right behind you. Hello. Ha.
Hello. Hello. Boy, don't.
Nobody's in voice chat. Yikes. Ooh, he was 202. He fell quite a bit.
Hello. Hello. Hi there. Goed. Hello.
5.
Okay, so my guess is one thing I like to do is if I see a bunch. Oop, I'm on my pen. If I see a bunch of people not in voice chat, what I do is I try to send an invite to one of them, and if I see that it says they're in a group, because you can't form a group when you're in a game, so it just tells you if they're in a group or not. That can be telling. When you're grouped with a group of 3, they might start doing their own thing, and that's not why they're in voice chat. So unfortunately, we're not really going to, unless they come in later, maybe, we might not see a full beneficial of watching a YouTube video of this just because the team won't be talking. Oh, somebody just joined voice. Okay, maybe they'll come in later.
You're falling apart. Supplying damage increase. Protect the payload.
Okay, so pocketing Sojourn's still a good idea to do even after the nerf, but kind of just keep it going between that and the Widow. Like right there, I'd put it on the Widow. Yep, there you go.
Checking in. Disrupting. Over there. Activating healing stream.
So I'd move that beam around just a little bit more. Yeah, there you, okay, so you flew to the Sigma. I think like if you stay basically right in like that area, I think that would have been your sweet spot. Even that or playing up on high ground area here looked pretty open. Because then you could just heal, down to the Sigma from up there. I think those would have been the 2 best spots to be at, and it just depends on who you want to focus your primary attention on. But that first line I drew would have allowed you to kind of pocket the support or the DPS, but then also get your healing at the tank a little bit. Because like once you're here, now you're essentially frontlining because I'm guessing the Sigma shield has probably been busted. And then you're basically point blank to an Orisa. Yeah, and then also there's a Tracer over there that we couldn't see, and then the Tracer got you.
Pinpoint
Barrier has been
accuracy.
overwhelmed. Make way. Assistance requested.
Making a full recovery. On my way.
Enemy factor calculated.
So based on what I just saw from that scoreboard, this is troubling to me. So I definitely would be looking at pocketing them, Salad. And then I would, let's see. So the Tracer's 1 kill was you. Yeah, they're struggling a bit. It looks like, I think between the Sigma and your Sojourn are looking like your hard carry. So I'd probably be focused on both of them. You're running, a Baptiste, and Baptiste tends to work well with Sigma, especially with the window. So your focus primarily here is Sojourn, and then secondary would be Widow. But if Widow continues to struggle like that, then that might go over to Sigma instead, and just do enough to keep the Widow alive. You know, I'm not necessarily saying ignore, but you know, the Widow's gonna have to maybe kind of show you something to maybe get that attention back.
I am here to support. Heightening your capability.
Just, I understand.
And at certain points in time, you can still pocket the Widow because, like, right there, for example, that's a good time to do it because that Sojourn doesn't have any charge. Yeah, okay, see, now they're popping off, so now everything I just said might have to just throw that out of the way. Now, nobody's on the cart right now. That's a little concerning. We got to get somebody on there. Not saying it should be you, but somebody's got to do it. Okay, I guess Baptiste is on it. So yeah, now at this point, you're just going to have to move the beam around to whoever needs it.
I am empowering you.
Get your beam now on the Sigma. Yep, there you go.
The barrier's weakened.
Okay, now that... Don't try to res that. Okay, now res it. Yep, okay, good. That was a good res.
Never die.
On your six. Right by you.
Yep, I like the distance. You're staying up in the air a bit. You weren't in the Orisa ult.
Amplifying your power.
Your I don't know how your Bap died so fast. He must have got right-clicked.
Breaking them down.
Yeah, there's not much you can do here. Just pocket your Sojourn and get out. Like, just get out, though. Get out, get out, get out. Yeah. Okay, so for some reason, you had a very delayed response to escaping. Like, as soon as you realized the Baptiste was dead and then the tank was, like, nearly dead, too, that should have just been, okay, it's time to get out. We're not, you know, we're not winning this fight. And then it would have been something to call out if your team were in there, too, but they weren't.
Barrier has been overwhelmed. An enemy appeared.
Drop the ball.
The barrier
Let
cannot
me see
withstand
what I
much
can do.
more. Enemy vector calculated.
Enhancing your
So right here, I might consider getting... Okay, now she's ulting. So yeah, now get on the Sojourn. I was going to say, you might consider being on Widow for a minute there, but once the Sojourn ults, yeah, you got to be on her.
The barrier's weakened. Immortality field deployed.
I can bring them back. Breaking them down. Power.
Okay, good res, good location. I like the spot you used cover.
Activating healing stream. Look what we've achieved. Checking in.
I'm curious to see what the scoreboard looks like. I'm hoping you're going to bring one up here soon.
Hello. Hey.
Enemy. Time to
Coming, just what I was looking for.
Hi there.
feeling more powerful.
You're falling apart.
Excellent. Barrier unsuccessful.
Not to worry.
Is that melody?
Pushing forward.
Okay, so right here I would pop ult and then just start healing everybody. Yeah, there you go. I would have just done that a little sooner. I feel like that was a little on the delayed side. Like you missed a second or two there. And there were people hurt, so I don't think you would have wasted it had you have done it a little sooner, in my opinion. Okay, I had no qualms with pulling out the pistol and taking a few shots here and there. I feel like more Mercy should do that, frankly. It's part of the kit. Use it. Oh, alright, let's take a quick assessment here of what we got going on. So the Kiriko is heal botting. Like when I see this, I feel like that person should just be Mercy. That damage is very, very low. I'd like to see that in the 600 to 700 range, just to throw that out there. That's just the first thing that jumped out at me. Looking up here though, so let's see. We've got 700 damage amplified. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like Mercy's got 700 damage. This Kiriko 482. Like, if you're going to play Kiriko, you got to be able to, at bare minimum, out-damage what a Mercy's going to output for damage boost. That's just the point I always make in my Kiriko VODs, and now we've got a VOD just to point that out a little bit. So that's kind of cool. But, so, what am I seeing here? The first thing I'm seeing is... One, I don't like the Tracer swap. I'm not a fan of this. He must be going for the Zen. I guess that's probably what it is. If he can get the Zen, then I guess it's fine. But I'm not a big fan of the Tracer pick. The team healing as a whole is a little down. They got 8K. You guys are at about 7K. It's not terribly off, but it's a little on the low side. The mitigation, though, holy crap. You guys have so much mitigation here. That's crazy. Yeah, I get nothing really is jumping out at me right now. I'd say just continue pocketing the Sojourn and try to maybe just get the healing up just a little bit more. That would be what I'm seeing here. I wouldn't be too stressed about the healing number too much, but the thing that stands out to me, though, is their healing is a lot higher than both of yours. Some of that comes, and then for a Zen, they've got a fairly high amount of healing too. So something's got to give there. Yeah, that was a good lamp. That lamp saved them.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Payload moving out. Hello.
Over here.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of your team move up if the Tracer's going to play that far forward. Yeah, I feel like that Tracer put themselves in a rough spot for one, and two, I don't see the value in Tracer here. I know who I would play if I were playing DPS here, but I'm not that big of a DPS player these days. But just to throw a couple names out, Reaper and Torb and Junkrat, those three come to mind as way more valuable than a Tracer. Yeah, I don't see that being resable. Don't go for that. Unless they can force that Sigma back quickly, and I don't think they will.
Let me take a look.
Behind you. We must push forward.
Heroes never die. Damage intensified.
Okay, this all feels premature to me. You feel free to comment on why you ulted when you did there. I would have held that ult. I didn't see any reason to pop that. I think you could have definitely just done your main beam to keep everybody up damage boost, and then as the teams gets a little bit more into a team fight, then pop your ult. That's what I would have done.
Make it worth your while.
Your Sigma needs healing.
The barrier appears.
Recharge.
A lot of people need healing. Alright, next time you bring up scoreboard, we'll take a quick look at it here.
It's good to work with capable.
Oop. You're too fast for me. Alright. Fun fact, if you're on a YouTube video and you want to rewind by frames, comma and period are your rewind and fast forward button. Fun fact. Alright, so what do we got here? So as a team healing, you guys are doing great. They're at 12k, you're at 12k. Okay, so you guys have caught up. The healing is even, which is kudos to them because they're carrying for their side of it. But you and the Baptiste are both doing your work. 1k damage, so boosted, that's good. Remember, I always say 1k damage on Kiriko minimum per round. That's why, because Mercy's going to get roughly 1k damage boost in a round, and we're talking full rounds. So I like what I'm seeing numbers wise here. Nothing jumping out that's too crazy. You're basically at a 60-40 split. That's basically the kind of numbers I see when I play Mercy as well. So no qualms or issues about that either. Yeah, I would honestly right now you've got the team diff. I mean the Baptiste has more limbs than anybody on the enemy team here. So really I just say keep pocketing the Sojourn, throw a little bit of love toward the Hanzo here and there, and let the Baptiste keep doing his thing with the Sigma, and I think everything should be fine.
Capable
60
allies.
seconds remaining.
See, I'd be on Sojourn here. I in my mind, I identify the Sojourn as the hard carry. Not that they're significantly better than the Hanzo, but
Healing stream connected.
good job being able to get up there. That didn't look like the easiest place to get to, considering. Kind of would have liked to have seen the Hanzo playing a little bit more with the team, though.
I'll make sure that doesn't scar.
Let them up.
I'm here to support.
I'd stay down.
Heroes never die.
10 seconds
Glad you
remaining.
had me.
Come on, let's move this payload.
Yep, I was just about to say, it's just one of them. Pull the pistol out, do a little damage, have a little fun.
Applying damage.
You earned it.
What is that melody?
Type a little positivity in the chat, always a good thing.
Switching sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think you played that round well. I'm not really seeing anything here based off of your intro, so I'm guessing you did something in the second round you're regretting more. I mean, I'd say the biggest thing that I notice is slight lack of mispositioning on your first death. A little, and we're nitpicky. We're getting a little nitpicky, but there were some timing issues I felt like with your ultimate where I would have expected it a little sooner or a little later. But generally speaking, though, I didn't really see anything too wrong with the way you played in that round.
We depend on you.
I'm not relaxed. I just make everything look easy.
And then that one time when you guys lost the team fight, I would have expected you to retreat a little bit quicker. Those were the only really like 3 points for that I kind of saw something with.
Show your face after what happened in Monte Cristi.
Well, it is a pretty good face.
Hoyt him.
5, 4,
Hello there.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
So somebody wants you guys to be playing up. I don't know if it's Sigma or who.
Continuing damage increase.
Barrier is nearly spent.
Enemy spotted.
Oof. Widow eats a rock.
Actuating.
Okay, good res. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, the Widow died. Jeez.
You're falling apart.
Okay, just, yeah, stay on the Sojourn, make sure the Baptiste is fine. Let the Baptiste heal the Sigma, maybe throw a little of the Sigma here and there. If you're not hearing the hit markers on Sojourn, throw it on Sigma.
I'll bring them back.
Yeah, I don't... Yep, good positioning, you're safe.
Successful.
I owe you one.
Keep your Sigma up, which is exactly what I would be doing here.
Let me fix you up.
Yep, keep Baptiste going. Okay, now that everything's been stabilized, kind of go back to the DPS, which is what you're doing.
You call it?
Yeah, your team's just getting rolled right now. Your team's getting rolled, but I don't know that there's really too much you can do about it. Frankly, everything you're doing is what I would be doing. I'm not really seeing anything here that's like jumping out at me, other than okay, right there. I would point one thing out here. So let's rewatch from right here is pretty good. So okay, this team fight is at a complete loss, and it was pretty much at a complete loss before that person died. But I get that you were healing him, trying to keep him going and all that. But at this point now, it's full retreat. Like, go back to spawn retreat, right? So, you know, you're with the Sojourn, which is fine, and you're almost back into a full spawn retreat, but you kind of stop, right? And the Sojourn keeps fighting, and then you kind of get stuck with them. And like that Sigma just keeps going up and keeps going up, and then he's able to pick you because you kind of hung in a spot where if the Sojourn's going to keep moving up, or I mean if the Sigma's in a spot where he's going to keep moving up, he's not really in a spot where he's going to be punished, right? So he's going to just keep moving. He's not going to be scared of Sojourn. And then on top of that, he's got a Cassidy right behind him shooting shots. So they're going to keep going. So at that point, you just got to get out. So you either go to spawn or you go back into there and just wait it out until your team's back. That's a little bit of a lapse of judgment of positioning there. And it's one of those things too where it's like, how aggressive are they going to be? But the problem is that you weren't really looking to see. And sometimes an attacking team will kind of pull back and just be fine with the fact that they're going to get a lot of space. Other teams will just keep going until they're like face to face with your spawn door. You know what I mean? So being able to just keep an eye on that and not lose sight of that is beneficial, because then you don't die there. Because if you just keep seeing them moving and moving, you would have been where that Sojourn was, where she made it out. At least I think they did. Okay, Zen is down. That's an easy res. Good. You guys got the advantage here. Hopefully you can win this. Tracer's dead. Now it's kind of even. Okay, Mercy res the Zen. Now it's at a disadvantage. Okay, yeah, now it's another lost fight. Ugh, jeez.
Checking in. Danke.
Thanks, Doc.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Hello. Hello.
The one thing I'm curious here, if I can get a scoreboard up.
Actuating the barrier.
I'd really like a scoreboard. Give me a scoreboard, come on.
I'll make it worth your while. We are falling apart.
The barrier cannot withstand much more.
I can fix that.
Heroes never die.
So the point that I would like to make, but I'd like to see the stats before I make it, but because we're not getting it, I'll just make the point and hope that it's accurate, because I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure. But, excuse me, I haven't noticed a lot of hit marker sounds from the people you've been pocketing. And when in a case like this where you guys are kind of just getting rolled, it might be a situation where maybe Mercy's not the right pick here. And maybe being a hero that can maybe kind of brawl a little bit more with the Sigma might be more beneficial. I was thinking Moira or Lucio. as some other suggestions that you might have swapped to like in the middle of this round. I'd be curious to know what your damage boost number is here, because you were basically just a little over 1k by the end of the round, and I'd be curious to know how much you've actually gotten this round, because I'm not noticing a lot of hit marker sounds.
Heightening your capabilities.
Let them out.
Enemy here.
Enemy vector calculated.
Den sterben nicht.
The
Oop.
barrier.
Come on, where was it? There it is. Okay, well, I kind of stand corrected. You actually got roughly, let's call it 700, because I know you were above 1k, but I'm not totally sure how much over 1k you were. So let's call it about 750. That's actually a lot more than I thought it was. So I may stand corrected a little bit. And what's interesting is so these are starting to bounce. These are starting to now even out because your team's been taking so much damage here. You and the BAP are hanging super close. Wow, those are really close numbers. You're doing a good job not dying. This guy's dying a lot. This guy's dying on cooldown, basically. Yeah, that... I don't know. I wasn't expecting your damage boost number to be quite that high. I figure I kind of had it pegged at around 14 to 1600, somewhere in that vicinity. But yeah, I still maintain maybe Mercy not being the best hero choice at this point, just because of the amount of damage coming in. Maybe a Moira could mitigate some of that a little bit more, but it's not that you're playing Mercy bad. It's just might be a limitation to the hero at this point.
Enemy appeared. Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for the help.
Don't look good at all.
Okay, good job keeping the Sojourn alive.
Powerful?
Okay, so right there, you bounced off of the Sojourn to kind of help the Sigma. I would not have done that, and the reason why is because that Sigma was in his shift ability. He's fine, he's not taking damage, and it kind of goes into the division of labor for supports. If you've got a Baptiste with you, let him worry about the Sigma a little bit in that case. You know you've got a Sojourn battling a Sigma, and that Sojourn's basically on their own. I would have just stayed with that Sigma there. And if your Sigma dies because of that decision, you kind of live with it, because this is ultimately your responsibility. This fight right here is for supporting that, and because that Sigma is being pocketed, so that this Sojourn is in a rough spot. One, they should try to escape this fight. But until they make that decision, you got to try to allow them to win this to the best of your ability and to their ability. But your Sojourn's in a rough spot here. Yeah, so see how you bail on them again, and then that ended up being their life. I would have communicated to that Sojourn if they were in chat, and just because I don't know if they were or not. A lot of these people aren't, I remember, but I think I recall seeing them joining right at the beginning of round 1. That's a fight there that Sojourn needs to try to escape from, and if you stay healing them throughout it, they could get away to their Sigma, because their Sigma wasn't far away. All they had to do is drop down, and then that fight dynamic changes quite a bit for both the way you would be supporting it, and because at that point it's a 2 versus 3, and the Zen healing wouldn't be enough to keep that Sigma going from another Sigma and a pocketed Sojourn. So something to take in mind there. It wasn't a little bit on your play, but more in terms of team communication there. That would have been a call out to be like, just drop down or something like that.
Angel at your shoulder.
I'll make it worth your while.
The barrier cannot withstand.
Heightening your capabilities.
Heroes never die.
I'm here to help. Helping you out.
Let them out. Reach for
Boy, you had to go super far out of the way for that res. Well, it worked out, I think. I feel like in my games, if I go that far out of my way to get a res, next thing I know, the cart's right here and my team got wiped and everybody's like, Mercy, where were you? It worked out for you, but I feel like if I would have done that in any of the games, maybe it's just my luck, but I feel like I would not have been able to pull that res off and have my team live without me, kind of a thing.
I understand. Monstering you.
Oh God. Oh no, Cassidy, what are you doing? Yeah, careful on the emotes. You know, let that be a lesson to everybody watching. Be careful on those emotes.
Get them off me.
I think he thought he was in a safe spot, but he was not. Oh God. Yeah, and your team's just getting rolled and wiped here. It's so interesting to me how, like, the attack defense dynamic just makes a team feel like they're being team diffed.
To support.
And they are in a sense, but like, it didn't feel that way at all when you guys were defending. But then when you were attacking, but then the second you're defending, it's like the whole dynamic just completely flip-flops. It's interesting to me how that works. Okay, so you basically okay, so 2.3k damage amplified is pretty solid in my opinion. The healing beam is creeping up now on the offensive beam, which frankly, you know, nothing you could do about that. Your team was taking a boatload of damage. The healing numbers are high for both of you guys. Yeah, I don't see anything terrible here. Well, okay. The thing that I do see that is terrible is that number is exorbitantly high. And one of those deaths shouldn't have happened because this is emote Cassidy guy who died when he was being too cocky. Regardless though, this is a yikes. So you can approach this one of two ways, and I'm not going to tell you which way is the right way or the wrong way because I think it's more of a personal preference play style. So you can do one of two things. You can try to pocket this guy now a little bit more and try to keep this number basically at the same amount at the cost of your more successful DPS. And then seeing that number likely shooting up. Or you can go more along the lines of, okay, this guy's struggling. This guy's my hard carry. I'm going to pocket the hard carry and hope that he can carry us to victory. So for anybody that watches this, feel free to chime in into the comments. Which line of thought do you tend to go with? Or do you just not go with any of those lines of thoughts and go a different direction of, well, I just heal and damage boost anybody I see at the right opportune time, and you know, everybody just kind of gets the same amount like that I've been doing the whole, you know, rest of the game. How do you guys typically want to approach something like that? I typically approach it one of those two ways. And sometimes I'll differentiate on that approach a little bit, but one of those two ways is usually how I'll look at that. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think.
3, switching sides. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
You guys got a fair amount of time to make up here too. They've got more than double, don't they? Yeah, they basically are at 3 minutes to your 1 minute.
Well, you know, surviving.
And how's Murphy?
Doing much better, now that you aren't feeding her scraps all the time.
Area initialized. Goed.
Doing the hustle. I like it.
Hello there.
Make sure you're ready. Who knows what we'll find out there. What's in?
5, 4, 3,
Understood. Good to see you.
1. 60 seconds remaining. Greetings.
Alright, let's see what we get.
Payload.
I am here to support.
Alright, so we got Echo. Oh, the Zenyatta is gonna be rough. Alright, so one thing, okay, this is a problem with doing the VODs over YouTube is we don't always see the team comp. Now that we know what the team comp is, Zen Mercy is a terrible, in my opinion, a absolutely terrible healing comp. Why did they get off Baptiste to go Zen? This isn't so much on you because of the Echo. I like the Mercy here. I do not like the Zen pick though, but if they're not going to get off of Zen, then I don't really like the Mercy. So then I would start getting into the Annas, the Moiras, the Baps, Kiriko even to some extent, although that one might even be a little too light. But any of the main healers is what I would really be liking to see here.
Monstering you.
Because your team's going to be struggling for heals, or you're just not going to be able to play Mercy the proper way.
Get them off me.
And you're just basically going to have to be playing heal beam for everybody, and when that tank gets low, all your DPS are going to have to hopefully just not take damage. Theoretically speaking, at this point, you are now main healer, and you got to start pocketing that tank and let the Zen worry about the DPS. I mean, and then once the tank is good, then you kind of can do this kind of a thing. But I'd like to see you a little bit more now on your tank. I'm surprised you didn't go for a red. Okay, you are. Yeah.
Much for you to do.
I feel like you could have went for that res a little sooner. I think you would have been fine with it. I don't know. Frankly, I don't see anything wrong with that res attempt other than you kind of delayed it a little bit, but I don't know that it necessarily would have mattered much. I feel like them going Zen is what really cost you guys there. I wasn't feeling that Zen pick. Well, this is going to be rough. Let's see what we get for a team comp here. Definitely not impossible, though, but... Oh, boy. Why is he going Zen all of a sudden? I don't get that.
Don't worry. I'll be right behind you.
Actuating the barrier.
More to do, more to learn.
Looking like more of the same from
Hello.
Overtime Attack.
Our mission awaits us.
I greet you. Oh.
Considering what you guys saw on their first attack and all the damage that was coming in, having a main healer is needed. I feel like Moira Bap would have been great, or Moira Anna, or Anna Kiriko would have been great here. I think you guys are going to get rolled. That's my prediction. I haven't watched this, so I don't know, but I think you guys are going to get rolled just on the simple fact you won't have enough healing to successfully hold this. There's just going to be too much damage for a Zen and a Mercy. Oh, God.
This does not compute.
Clear out. Greetings.
Hey there. Zeit für einen neuen Plan. Ha! Join me.
Yeah, and everybody's just going to die now because Zen can't solo heal this on his own.
Here to help. My
So, okay, Sojourn gets out. Okay, good. So your team did a good job, at least, of retreating.
Barriers weakened.
But they're going to have to move in fairly quickly here because there's not much time left. Or not much space left, I meant. Sorry. Get on your Sigma. Your front line needs to be strong here. Get on your Sigma. Get on your Sigma. See, I would be pocketing Sigma here. Your front line, yeah. See your front line. Your front line's what's going to contest this. And once you lost your tank, this whole thing's over. So I feel like, okay, first of all, the Zen choice cost you guys. That's number one. But number two, your inability to adjust to playing with the Zen also cost you as well. Because if you're playing Mercy with a Zen, you're now the main healer. So now your role of pocketing DPS to pocketing tank, that all changes. So like your front line there needed to be way stronger, and that didn't happen. So I'd say minor positioning issues that we pointed out as we saw it, like when the Hanzo picked you in overtime, frankly, I would have just liked to have seen you on the staircase playing it safer, as opposed to being in the air and then potentially getting sniped. And that's a good example too, because we normally review a lot of lower tier games, and then I'll point out situations where it's like, okay, I'm expecting you to die, and then they don't die, and it's because they're in a lower rank and they don't get punished. That overtime defense death that you had where you shot yourself up in the air and then you got sniped, that's a good example of that. The higher the game, the more punishing your positioning can be, because it wasn't the worst out of position we've seen in a VOD review, but like all you got to do is be visible for a second and a Hanzo can kill you, even if you're a Mercy flying in the air. You know what I mean? So like maybe playing a little back and on that staircase might have been a little bit more beneficial there. But the other thing too is, I'll say adapt. You weren't really pocketing the tank when you were running the Zen, and because of that, your front line suffered and you couldn't really play a strong defense, because that was your only hope of holding that last little corner there, was keeping the Sigma strong, keeping him on the point. And he wasn't going to do that with the Zen Orb. He needed you on there with the Zen healing the DPS. So that would have been the other point I was going to make. And then 3, I'll say alt timing. Your alt timing, this was more at the beginning of the game. There were a couple times where I felt like you could have either popped it a little sooner or a little later. This number 3 is minor, so don't read into this one a lot, because I don't know how much it would have really truly made a difference. This is a little bit more of a minor nitpick to me, but I would have looked for your alt timing to be a little sooner at times and a little later at other times to get a little bit more of a maximum usage out of it. The timings of them ultimately were fine, but I think there was a little fine-tuning tweaking there that could have been done to maybe gotten a little bit more out of it. But I don't think it really, I think ultimately what cost you guys this game was just the support comp as a whole. The Mercy Zen, I didn't like it. And you guys could have changed that in a couple different ways. The Mercy one tricking could have maybe went to like a Moira. But yeah, I don't know. Like when you guys see a situation where you guys play defense and even with a BAP Mercy, you guys are still melting. I'm not totally sure what they were hoping to accomplish with a Zen Mercy there. Like that just doesn't feel like appropriate counterplay to what you guys have been seeing as the game progresses. So maybe getting off of the Mercy to a Moira maybe helps. I don't know, and I'm only throwing Moira out there as an example. You could have done Ana, you could have done BAP, taking BAP from him after he relinquished it to go Zen, or Kiriko BAP, or, I don't know. There's a lot of different support comps that I feel like could have been a little bit more beneficial there. But anyway, that's what I saw from that one. So I hope that was beneficial to you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.